Hi, this is a video response to Free Speech for TW in her video, A Question to Destiny Followers About Self-Forgiveness. The first thing I wanted to address was the word followers in the title. One of the first things you'll learn if you start studying the Destiny material is that it's not about being a follower. It's about training yourself to have your actions be in line with the principles of oneness and equality, do unto others, love thy neighbor. Unfortunately, there's nobody who is being the kind of leader who already lives by these principles to follow. So we now have to train ourselves to lead by these principles. And Destiny has given us the tools to do so. So, Free Speech for TW, she starts off with two claims, which she calls point A and B. Point A, she says, quote, I am not going to get any honest answers, end quote. Her supporting argument is because Destonians are, quote, so cool that we don't want to talk to her, end quote. Her second supporting argument is because Destonians is a silly name and that is just plain stupid. Point B is that she says you guys are never honest anyways, and she offers no supporting arguments to that claim. So this woman has made two arguments. One, that Destonians are so cool that we don't want to talk to her, so I'm disproving that one right now by talking to her. And the second one is that Destonian is a silly name, which is a subjective opinion, so we're going to disregard that one for the moment. Not just for the moment, but disregard it altogether. So thus far, Free Speech for TW, you have presented two claims with no evidence or examples either from the Destiny site or from individuals who are participating within this process. You have done this within the context, the reality, or the situation where all this information is freely available online. I'm talking about the over 2,000 Destiny videos. I'm talking about the countless vlogs and blogs from Destonian, and the thousands of articles at the Destiny site. So my question to you is, why didn't you refer to any of these? Where in this process of attempting to expose Destiny or Destonians as being dishonest have you taken the time to find anything to make yourself a credible source of information, or shown that your arguments are valid at all, so that anyone who might be watching your videos can take you seriously? And the fact is that you haven't. So anyone who is looking at what you're saying with even a minute amount of critical thinking cannot take you seriously based on what you've presented, at least thus far in your video. So my experience with Destiny is that whenever I have had a question or needed support, I have either done so by searching the blogs of others. I find that extremely helpful. I use the network blog application on Facebook using the words Desteni, D-E-S-T-E-N-I, the word process, or the word self-honesty, etc. Or I've used the search button on the Destiny site to access past discussions on a particular topic. I've also participated on the forums to interact with individuals personally, or I've used Skype. And I've had all of my questions answered. And I've received all of the support I required to help me walk through the particular points that I was dealing with at the time. And I continue to do so to this day. So, in the next part of your video, you ask the question, does it work? The process, writing yourself to freedom, being self-honest, forgiving yourself, And then you slip in being self-centered, which is nowhere in the Destiny material. So then what is that? Why did you say that? It's another judgment you've made. And then you included it into a list of things that Destiny actually does, so that if someone were listening to your video, you have planted this little seed in their mind that Destonians are self-centered, which is a deceptive thing to do. So you have so far through your speaking proven yourself to be judgmental and deceptive, as well as with the opening of your video where you've proven to be not credible by not backing your arguments, and judgmental again by calling the name Destonian stupid. So to answer your question, I mean, to just refer briefly to the you calling part of the process being self-centered, I'm just going to refer to that because the process does begin with self. So maybe you had a misunderstanding because it begins with self in that we have to deal with our own selves first so that we become stable in order to be pillars of support for others. But as we blog and vlog and share on the forums, we're actually assisting and supporting each other through our individual processes. As I've previously described in my personal experience of seeking support or assistance through the network blog, searching the Destiny forums, and the one-on-one with other Destonians. So even though each person is concentrating on themselves, as a result, we support each other by looking into, for example, points that another has already dealt with, and to see how they dealt with it, and then maybe use that information to help ourselves out. So back to your question, does it work? The simple answer for me personally is yes, and I'll expand on this through answering your follow-up questions. Your follow-up question, number one, so have you actually let go of things? That's your question. Me personally, yes. And I'll give you an example here. I've let go of expectations I used to hold to others in my world. So this is just one example of one thing that I have let go. I used to think that I depended on others to make myself feel a certain way, such as loved, accepted, desired, etc. In using the Destiny tools, applying them and writing myself out, writing myself to freedom, self-forgiveness, and self-honesty, I no longer look for these things in others. It's now about self-acceptance and self-love for me. And now that I've let that go, I find that I can participate fully with the people in my world without any need or expectation from them, so that I can enjoy them for who they are. And I can express myself as who I am, as a full and complete person, with no ulterior motives within these relationships. I've documented this process. This is a specific example that I've chosen to share with you. I posted it in my blog, which I post links to on Facebook as well as on the Destiny forum. So anybody can read about my experience with letting go of expectations from others. I've also let go of many self-definitions of the countless beliefs I hold about myself. So I'll name one, which I have successfully written out and transcended, which is the self-definition of a bad student. I always considered myself to be a bad student based on my grades, based on some past memories of interactions with teachers and other students. I was also too shy to participate in class, and I dropped out of college. So I have now forgiven myself for accepting and allowing myself to define myself as a bad student. I wrote out all the points surrounding this self-definition, and I forgave them as well. I went back to school, and I continued to forgive the points as they come up again, and I relived the experience of being a student, except that I lived this experience the way I wanted to live it this time, meaning I wrote down what kind of student I would now direct myself to be. Now that I'm halfway through my degree, my grades are great. My GPA has gone up a half a grade point from the first semester to the second semester. And as I continue to direct myself, nothing is stopping me from bringing it up even more as I continue in my studies. So this is 18 years for me of being a poor student, and now in 9 months I have become a A- student at a university level, which is great. So for the second part of your question, have you actually let go of things, or do the problems come back to you afterwards? So my answer, the second part of that question is, or do the problems come back afterwards? My answer to this is yes, in a way, because the situation which presented me with the problem, in this case, the example I just gave you, the problem being the fact that I was a bad student, the cause of which was my self-definition of being a bad student. But when the situation arises again, I behave differently. For example, um, when I felt lost or overwhelmed at school this past year, instead of using those feelings to reconfirm my self-definition as bad student and just continuing on not understanding the material, I instead made appointments to see my professors. I wrote down my questions to have them clarified before an exam, or signed up for study groups, or the free courses on essay writing, which I participated in. So, as you can see, there's no magic here in self-forgiveness. It's only the changing of one's behavior from the self-imposed limitations of, for example, self-definitions, to the behavior of whatever it is you choose to be. At Desteni, we as Destonians choose to change our behavior to that which is best for all. I documented in my blog and on the Desteni forum my process of working through the difficulties I had with studying for exams during my last school year. So this included focusing and time management. This particular case, I received a lot of support from other Desteni members, and I will continue to work on these things until I'm satisfied. And that is all in the Desteni forums and in my blog as well. So for your next question, how have you changed? My answer is in so many ways I can't name them all here. But in ways which is visible, is that when I watch the first videos I ever made compared to my current ones, I can see myself coming through now. I was always resistant to making videos. I never liked being in front of the camera. I had a really tough time working through that. But now I see a huge change in terms of confidence and a certainty within myself, where I have let go of the fear of judgment or whatever, judgment of others, and I instead expressed myself instead of being limited by that fear. So your next question is, have you improved? My answer is that I have improved all around within who I am. And for example, my last blog was titled How My Relationships Have Changed Since Desteni, wherein I discussed the improved states of my relationships with those close to me and how I direct myself through arguments and discussions now, reaching peaceful revolutions with others so that we can move on instead of dwelling on any kind of anger or resentment, which was my experience in the past, before Desteni. Your next question is, have you made any progress into any kind of direction? My answer is that I write myself out every day in order to give myself direction, such as in the examples I gave you in this response video. Examples which I have written out and published on my blog, which you can access on network blogs, on the Desteni forum, and the links on Facebook. Except I didn't write myself out today. Rather, I spent this morning responding to you. I have shared myself and my experiences here unconditionally with you, despite the fact that you have called me dishonest, self-centered. You've called my group's name Destonians stupid, and later in your video you used the term self-obsessed, I think? Yeah, self-obsessed. You've also claimed that part of my support system doesn't give a shit about me. And you said that I am the exact same person I've been before, except with a different haircut. I think that's actually the only accurate statement you have made about me in your video, because I do in fact have a new haircut. And let me tell you, shaving my head was one of the coolest, the most revealing and empowering experiences I've ever had. But how do you know that I'm the exact same person I was before? The truth is that you don't. It's just another claim you're making here out of thin air. And in this respect, your video was in fact a waste of my time. But now with my response video, your video serves as a valuable documented proof of how people can have the tendency to make unsubstantiated claims, and they can formulate strong opinions about things, and they can spread these opinions without showing whether or not they took the time to make sure they're accurate. My guess is that any reasonable person who would have actually taken the time to find some facts to go on would have presented those facts for the world to see. Otherwise, you're just another Destiny hater, wasting everybody's time with opinions that have nothing to do with Destiny. So, I've answered all your questions to the best of my ability with the time that I have available right now. Now, it's your choice to believe me or not. There's nothing I can do to prove to you or to change your mind that this process works, because this process is a personal one. So I've answered your questions the best that I can about my personal process, and I've opened myself up here for you and revealed myself to answer these questions. And all that I can do at this point is just give you more and more examples. But all these examples are documented. They are and always have been available to you. So if you really want to know if the tools of Destiny work, then you should just try them for yourself. Thank you.